So we will have this session that we call Setting the Scene for Localizing the 7 Ingredients of the Rural Pact. To open this session, I will ask Alexia Rouby to come to the lectern to present the key achievements and way forward for the Rural Vision and the Rural Pact. You have the floor.
Thank you very much, Pascal, and good morning to all. So, thank you very much, Colleen. As Colleen explained, we just adopted on 27 March 2024 a report on the implementation of the long-term vision, its key achievements, and the ways forward. And I'm going to present you very quickly what it includes. This report is structured as you can see here, and it includes new evidence under the 4 action areas: stronger, connected, resilient, prosperous. It looks back at 30 months of implementation of this rural vision with the different aspects. So the first aspect was how do EU policies contribute to rural areas. There we summarized the results of our stock-taking exercise of how the common agricultural policy and cohesion policy contribute to the objectives of the rural vision. And in a nutshell, the key message is that we have a lot of instruments, we have the right instruments in place in these policies, but the implementation, the delivery, the uptake of these instruments vary greatly from one country to another, and so there's things to improve there. We are also looking at where we are with the implementation of the 30 actions in the EU Rural Action Plan that Pascal just mentioned, where we are with the launch and development of the Rural Pact that has just been presented. And importantly, we're also looking forward at bringing elements on consolidating the achievement and implementing the EU Rural Action Plan. And basically, we have provided a reviewed version of the EU Action Plan, and we are continuing with this action plan. We are planning to consolidate the Rural Pact as well. This is something that will be more elaborated in the closing by Antonia later this afternoon, and reflecting on how to enhance support for rural areas in the future. The report itself is fairly short, it's only 16 pages, but in the staff working documents, for which you have the links below, you have much more information on the details of implementation of all these actions. Because of our focus on the local level today, I'm going to tell you a bit from this Rural Action Plan what is most relevant to the local level. So as you may or may not know, right now in this Rural Action Plan, the 30 actions, we have 24 that are more thematic, structured against the 4 action areas of the vision: stronger, connected, resilient, prosperous, and we have 6 that are rather cross-cutting. And through the thematic ones in particular, we have provided a substantial amount of funding or assistance for project networking and technical assistance to municipalities, or actions that are relevant to municipalities or local actors. I should have put rather. If we take the stronger pillar, for example, we have launched a rural revitalization platform in June last year, which is really dedicated to areas, local rural areas, who are facing population loss and economic decline. So this is really made, and this is also common with the Rural Pact community platform, with Pascal has just engaged you to connect in. Through the research and innovation flagship, we have funded for 250 million euros 60 multi-actor research and innovation projects that are really dedicated to rural topics, and where local actors, local organizations can take part as partners. We also have a Startup Village Forum, which looks into the specifics of innovation for rural businesses on the ground and rural startups. Through the EU CAP network, we have provided networking activities dedicated for LEADER. Through the preparatory actions on smart villages, Smart Rural 21 and Smart Rural 27, Edina is over there. Close to 150 communities have been guided to create smart villages. We are working on recommendations for local planning and zoning through the study on land use for sustainable agriculture. And in the Erasmus program, we have made some efforts to make it possible for more young people from all the rural municipalities to participate in this program and benefit from it. And when I say we, it's 14 departments of the European Commission that are working on these actions that I'm presenting, not only DG AGRI, it's important to say. If we look at connected rural areas, there is dedicated networking activities ongoing on mobility for rural communities under the Smarter Net project. There is also ongoing a revision of sustainable urban and mobility plans, which look more at urban-rural linkages and actions to really strengthen this, also the potential of these mobility systems to cover the needs of rural people in the vicinity of these urban areas. Under the Rural Digital Futures flagship, we have provided over 23 billion euros to invest in connectivity in areas where markets fail to deliver. These funding schemes are more geared to this. Also further down, you can see that the Broadband Competency Office network has been set up to help really the local actors benefit from these schemes through capacity building advice and how to build these schemes. And an important factor is also digital skills that are much lower in rural areas, and there we've had a pilot on digital education in remote areas to try to improve this. Communities have also received specific technical assistance on energy communities, which is an area with a lot of potential. 27 municipalities have received this technical assistance. It is small, but while supporting these 27 municipalities, guidance for all has been produced that can be used by many more. There's a system in place to certify carbon removals, which is important for businesses who are involved in the carbon economy locally. We are also investing massively in living labs, so experimental setups at local level to work on soil health improvement through the Mission Soil. And we have raised the importance of care in rural areas through the European Care Strategy. And finally, on prosperous rural areas, there are 4 dedicated projects to develop social economy in rural areas that are currently supported by DG GROW, on top of the social economy framework, which also pays attention to social economy in rural areas, good practices, and the social economy regions initiative. There's also dedicated content being developed for rural schools under the school education platform and the online teacher community. There are tools developed for producer groups in geographical indications so food products under quality schemes, and there's been work under the EU CAP network as well on networking for forest-dominant municipalities. So you can see this wealth of actions that are ongoing. Of course, there are 137 million rural people in Europe, so these actions, they don't touch everybody, and maybe you have not benefited yet, but we are trying hard to cover this wide range of schemes, including agriculture, but also including beyond agriculture, to have something really happening for rural areas and implementing this vision. And you have more information on the website if you want to know. If we look at the cross-cutting actions now, something of interest to the local level also is that we have improved access to available data, and we are building more granular data. Granular means data available at the more local level. So if you go on the Rural Observatory that we have set up in December 22, you can access data on your specific locality, the indicators that are available at European level for your locality under the My Place functions, and you can compare it with indicators at regional or national level on other local areas. So you can benchmark in your region, in your country, with other countries, and you can see here these colors distinguishing the rural, intermediate and urban areas on the map. I invite you to discover more. We have also published on 6th of February this year the Rural Toolkit on EU funds, which is really a tool to guide actors through the funding maze, so where to apply. So this tool helps you find the fund best suited to who you are and what you want to do, and get contacts and information on these funds. And also it helps you find inspiration on how these funding sources have been used by others, so you can try and replicate and build on that. And finally, rural proofing is also important. Rural proofing means developing legislation or initiatives in various sectorial domains which take into account rural specificities. At EU level, we have set up a rural proofing mechanism as part of our EU's legislative process under our better regulation guidelines. But rural proofing is also something that needs to happen at the other governance level. And for that, we have worked with in our DB4, so now the UCAP network, on a framework on rural proofing at national, regional, and local levels, with essential actions and ideas for long-term support on which you can also draw inspiration from. We have already presented the Rural Pact and its 3 objectives. So part of the achievements of these first 3 years, 2.5 years, have been to put in place, first to create the Rural Pact, as we had promised, through a participatory process with the Rural Pact community that has been created for that occasion and is now strong of over 2,400 members. We have received 120 commitments to act. The Rural Pact Support Office, which is organizing this beautiful event today, has been also created in December 22 and provide a range of facilitation activities. We have set up in spring last year the Rural Pact Coordination Group, which acts as a governance body for this initiative and includes the representatives of different layers of governance and different sectors. And we have launched the Rural Pact Community Platform in June 23, which we have mentioned already. A very small word about this Rural Pact Community Platform, because this is really, from the facilitation team of the Rural Pact needs to interact with a lot of people, and this platform is really an interface that we use for this interaction, where you can connect with peers, you can join thematic or country community groups, you can create some, you can get inspired from good practices, stay in touch with what's going on in terms of events, publications, news, commit to act for rural areas, and also receive all the newsletter and all the things. So I really encourage you to join and encourage others to join so that this community and this movement can grow and the voice can grow louder as well through it. A lot has happened under this Rural Pact since its creation, although it's quite new. So you have a number of indicators there of what we have achieved under the different objectives. I'm not going to go into detail, but you can see that a lot is happening in terms of good practices generated, the community growing, commitments to act, policy and networking events, over 10 organized already since January 23. So this is really a growing and EU-wide community with an ambition which is not clearly defined, and we're really proud of this and of how you are, many of you I can see have been contributing since the beginning already, and we are very grateful for that. Now looking forward, we had a mandate to provide a set of reflections on the ways forward in this report. That was in the initial communication. As you know, we are at a specific moment in the policy cycle just ahead of EU elections, and it will be up to the new College of Commissioners coming after these elections to come up with proposals. We could not commit to any change right away. But what we wanted to make sure is that all the contributions that we have received are compiled and are there, and we can show that we listen and that they are on the table for this debate. So what we have done is we have compiled all the contributions from EU institutions, from the various EU institutions who express themselves on the vision, and from the stakeholders, from the European Rural Parliament, from the activities of the Rural Pact, into a clear chapter listing all these contributions. And we have provided a set of questions for reflections to structure this debate, and a list of opportunities to debate them up to mid-25, when the new legislative proposals are to come from the Commission on the next cycle of EU policies. So these questions are here. I'm not going to read them. You can read them for yourself in the report, which is online. And they cover a wide range of elements which are important to enhance support for all areas in the future. But there's one question, for example, which could be quite relevant for today, which is what are the best ways to address the needs of rural areas in a targeted way that takes due account of the diversity of rural areas. And this is something which is where the local level action has a lot to do. So I suggest this one would be quite maybe our focus today, and on how we're going to address the other questions and the ways forward for the rest. We will talk about it in the next steps part of our event this afternoon. Thank you very much. And I hope we have a productive day today, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Alexia, for your quite comprehensive presentation of all actions that have been launched so far, and as well the next steps to prepare the future policy in rural areas. So thank you so much, Alexia. I will give the floor now to Urszula, who will present the ingredients linked to the policy briefing at national level that we have already mentioned several times today. So this presentation will inspire the work that we will develop after in the different breakout sessions. So you have the floor, Urszula.
Okay, many thanks, Pascal. I thought this microphone was high enough, but I hope you can hear me. So yes, we prepared this publication, which is called the policy briefing. We tried to figure out what a rural pact can look like at national and regional level. So before going into the local aspect, let's have a look at what we mean at the national level, what a rural pact can be at the national or regional. We mean regional in the countries where there's programming at regional level, so the big countries with regions with some level of autonomy, of course. So first, indeed, I would suggest that this is a very, very brief summary, but go to the publication as a whole and have a look at it. It was also published on the website of this event as background material, so I hope some of you have already looked at it. And it has been translated into 24 languages, so you can read it in your own language. Just a very, very quick summary what we mean by ingredients. We were looking for characteristics, elements of the Rural Pact that should be in place. I don't believe that there's any country in the EU that has all the 7 ingredients in place now, but they're all present somewhere, so all of them are realistic. It's a way of strengthening the cooperation of the different actors at the national level to work together for rural areas. For that, what you need is a designated person, very often a government member or a special service that drives forward the issues about rural matters. Sometimes, and I would just say, it's not necessarily the rural ministry or the agriculture and rural ministry. Sometimes it is higher up. It can be at a higher level. Sometimes these are champions. These are people who really strongly believe in the future of rural areas, and they drive all the cooperation within the government. Also, because the government is no way can do it everything on their own, there needs to be mechanisms to engage with rural communities. They should have a voice. They should participate in the designing of the Rural Pact at the national level. So these are the 2 elements that contribute to the first objective, as we said, amplifying the voice of rural communities and bringing them higher up in the policy agendas. To participate, those local actors need capacity. So they need to have the possibility to network, to meet each other. There are very interesting, good practice examples how different member states provide that capacity to the local actors so that they actually engaged in the Rural Pact. And then there are a number of things related to this commitment for action. First of all, we need a vision and a holistic strategy. There are member states where this has already been discussed and is going on. You will see from some of the examples that this national level vision has to link up with what's going on at the local level, of course. So there's always let's say, coherence rather than top-down imposition of the vision and the strategy on the local areas. We need data and we need rural proofing. We need to prove the policies, all the policies, concerning their impact on rural areas to see if they are really contributing to the well-being of rural communities rather than not creating further inequalities. And there needs to be a governance system. So in addition to that designated member who is spearheads the change, there needs to be governance systems for all the different actors to be involved, to meet regularly, to exchange, to work together, to coordinate, and especially to coordinate the allocation and funding and to ensure synergies. And if you go to the publication, you will see there are examples for each of these ingredients, for each of these characteristics. So these things already exist in different member states. What we would like to see is that more member states consciously start building those ingredients at the national level. So that's the context. That's what you can imagine as the overarching structure in each of your member states that should be in place, and is sometimes partly already in place, to support what will happen at the local level. Now, for the local level, we will of course explore this further here, but we have already asked you, when you were registering to this event, we have asked you what you thought about local level translation of the Rural Pact. We got 72 responses. Thank you very much for all of those who responded. And you see that the biggest representation is, say, non-governmental organizations, NGOs, and especially local action groups, as well as public authorities. So they're big groups, but there are also other people. And from the national distribution among those who responded, the highest number, as usual, is the Spanish and then the Italians. And that's because we really have a lot of Spanish people in the Rural Pact and at this event as well, as you will see. But quite a few other responses as well. And thank you all really for making your, let's say, contributions. And what did you say when we asked this very simple question? What does a Rural Pact at local level mean to you? And you were only allowed to mention one word, so that was a very, very difficult task. But you can see that cooperation is definitely the most popular, but also governance. Development is what we are trying all to achieve, but also action, opportunity, and community, yes. So we we all agree, and I think that you have spontaneously pointed out to a number of elements that have to come together for the Rural Pact to operate, to add value to what is already being done at the local level. Then, very quickly, your other responses. What you said from the 7 ingredients, which I described as being important at the national and regional level. We also asked you how many of them, which ones are really still relevant also at the local level, and the highest, what you think is the vision and strategy and action plan. So that's what you think is probably the most important element from those which are relevant for the national level. Maybe there are others which were not, of course, in our list, which we will develop today. Just to say that depending on who was giving the response, there were slight differences. And for public authorities, the 2 ingredients that were considered equally important as the vision and strategy were governance for policy coordination and rural proofing and data systems. So that again, because we had a big group of public authorities responding, I think it's good to keep in mind. Then we asked you how the Rural Pact can add value in your context. And again, you agree, by far the biggest proportion of people say that it's the most important is to mobilize key actors for change. So the Rural Pact brings a new inspiration to mobilize people, to get people involved, to want to be engaged, and especially the ones who really can make change. So this is very important. This is what we are trying to release the energy of by having the Rural Pact in place. But of course, the other aspects, common vision, vital sectors that are often excluded from the typical, let's say, rural development action and so on, they're also important, as you say. Again, for public authorities, one of the very important aspects of adding value is that the Rural Pact can help coordinate action and sharing information. So I think also public authorities realize that the current policies are fragmented, that they are sometimes working in silos, and that it is important really that Rural Pact can bring a change by facilitating coordination or enhancing coordination. Now, we are always talking about, well, have been recently talking about the local level, but what does it really mean? What do we mean when we say local level? So we asked you in the respondents of the survey, and you more or less agree that we are talking equally about intermunicipal or territorial, let's say, municipality size, but not necessarily in line with municipal borders. So these are the types of local areas, but also at the village level, sub-municipal can be considered local, and I think very much depends on the country context. So I think in some countries the village level is very important, and you will see some of the examples later on. And some respondents actually said more than one option. So basically we should say, for us, local can be any of these. And finally, who should start this rural activities to promote the Rural Pact at the local level? A very, very strong role can be played by leader local action groups. And again, you will see from some of the examples that this is indeed very often happening. And also local authorities and civil society organizations can play a role. Slightly less likely to be the lead of the local rural pacts are regional authorities or national or private sector, academia, and so on. So that's just a very, very quick overview of what you said to us in our responses. Then we will, of course, modify that by our discussion here. We're all here to learn and imagine the translation of the Rural Pact at the local level. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Urszula. Quite helpful for our work afterwards, quite inspiring. And you have well demonstrated that the Rural Pact is not an end, but it's an instrument to boost, I would say, to improve the lives of rural people, in rural areas. So thank you so much for that. I see the time, so I will invite now the project holders to come to the podium. And we have 5 people. So firstly, Sergi Mendez from the Consell Comarcal del Priorat and Pere Sala from the Observatorio del Paisatge in Spain. So you come to the podium, you sit there. Then we have Karine Bordeaux and Bruno Weber-Regnier from Vallée du Loir, from France. And then I'm inviting Mirta Sutter from the Lake Montagnappennino in Italy. So perhaps we can, you can sit in the middle there. And so we split between men and women. So thank you for coming. So the idea is to, based on your experience, it's to inspire about what kind of ingredients could be or characteristics could be relevant to, I would say, to improve or to develop the rural areas based on the Rural Pact, I would say, approach, which is around policies, around capacities, around action, as it has been presented before. So without waiting, I will give the floor, and your presentation, your project, is the landscape charter to mobilize rural stakeholders and plan actions in Priorat. I don't know who is starting between yourselves, so please keep in mind that you do not have together more than 10 minutes, as agreed with Urszula, I think.
Good morning. First of all, we would like to extend our thanks to the Rural Pact Support Office for the opportunity to participate in this interesting policy action lab in this beautiful room. It is an honor for us to be here. We will speak about the Landscape Charter to mobilize rural stakeholders and plan action. The Landscape Charter as a good tool to act, as a kind of local rural pact. The example we will show you is the Priorat region, which represents an excellent example of the development of a landscape charter in Catalonia. I'm accompanied by the president of the Priorat County Council, Consell Comarcal. I think it's very significant that it is an elected representative who is here explaining the Priorat experience, because it shows the commitment, the clear commitment of the region and his personal commitment as Sergi and Mendez to the issue that we are discussing today. We are also accompanied by Eduard Trapat, coordinator of the Catalan Leader Network. A landscape charter is one of the main instruments of the landscape policies in Catalonia, created by the landscape law on the protection, management and planning of the landscape. Yes. The body that collaborates with administration in the application of the landscape law and the application of the landscape policy is the Landscape Observatory of Catalonia, which in short is an advisory body of the Catalan administration and society with the aim of improving the quality of the landscapes. Understanding landscape as an expression of a territory lived and perceived by the citizens as an asset and a catalyst for rural and local development. It is a consortium attached to the Department of Territory of the Government of Catalonia, recognized in the law, and its purpose is not only to provide, or it's not merely to provide support for public policies, but also to perform an educational function, imbibing society with knowledge and an increasing awareness on landscape, following the principles of the European Landscape Convention. At the end, it is a shared, an open, a receptive meeting point, midway between civil society, the administration, the academia, and the professional sectors. And we, as Landscape Observatory, we are members of the driving committee of the Catalan Rural Pact. What is a landscape charter? Why is it useful to bring a local rural pact closer to the citizens, which is the question that we have today on the table? Well, it is an instrument, as I said, created by the landscape law. This is important, these three characteristics. It's a voluntary instrument setting out common objective agreements and management strategies between the public and the private agents in a supra-municipal area, mainly, in order to improve the landscape and to turn it into an active asset for the future, as I mentioned before. This is the first characteristic. It's a voluntary agreement that comes from the local level, so it's a bottom-up initiative. Second characteristic, it can be promoted especially by local authorities, so county councils, association of municipalities, etc., or by other entities. And the promoting a landscape charter requires, and this is a very important aspect, requires a strong leadership, a clear and shared consensual roadmap, and a high level of commitment from all the agents, and the authorities. So, in other words, a landscape charter is a way of defining a development model for the future of a specific rural area, a rural vision, a governance model of this specific region by consensus, or as consensus as possible, between the stakeholders and the population. And the role of the Landscape Observatory in this instrument, the role is to follow up the different initiatives that you can see that are in Catalonia at this moment of landscape charters. You can see it in the map, to follow up this initiative and to guarantee the coherence among the different initiatives and in the landscape policy. Finally, this is an instrument that has been demonstrated as useful in other parts, not only in Priorat, but in other parts of Catalonia and in Europe. In fact, the landscape charter is created in France, no? It's the Charte des Paysages. The origin is French. So now I invite you to listen to the experience of Priorat, because I think it's a magnificent and a replicable example of how to achieve a good rural roadmap as a result of amplifying the rural voices and implying these rural voices and this high level of commitment. Thank you.
Thanks, Pere. First of all, I want to thank you for this opportunity to explain our case and just to spend this day with all of you. As Pere has explained it, well, we are a special county, a special territory that is well known by their wines and their olive oils, but Priorat is more than they say. It has an extension of 400, approximately 500 square kilometers, and is bordered and surrounded by mountain ranges. Is a territory mostly hilly with bad communications and a difficult topography. It's formed by 23 municipalities, with only the capital, Falset, exceeding a population of 1,000. 18 of these municipalities have less than 500 inhabitants. And Priorat saw for the last century a steady loss of population. So now we are the third least populated territory in all Catalonia. Despite this, despite all the good wines, all the touristic services, Priorat continues to be an aged region with more than 26% of the population over 65 years old, and which, due to the effects of the population structure, does not increase in population. For all of this, we find that Priorat County has big challenges to face, and although the good reputation of its wines, consolidated tourism services based in quality, this does not translate into an improvement of this situation. These challenges are the same that in the most of the rural areas in Europe. For example, population decreasing, economic diversification, the agricultural sector, housing, territorial and landscape planning, sovereignties on governance. At least, Priorat has to face, just to make human activity compatible with respect for the values of the territory and the landscape, keeping a community alive and with relief, we have to reverse the causes of the population, and we have to improve governance, find a way how the community diagnoses, defines, and proposes actions to define and apply a territorial model of respect for the values of the territory. What does the Landscape Charter achieve? In this context is where the Landscape Charter takes relevance. With its implementation and all the processes started with it, especially to face external aggressions to landscape, Priorat set out common objectives, agreements, and management strategies between the public and private agents in order to improve its landscape and turn into an active asset for the future. In short, what we decide is to put landscape management as the axis of local development in a broad sense. And this model brought the countries to start new challenges and linked them with higher level strategies and programs. Just to obtain the recognition to be an UNESCO World Heritage as a cultural landscape, to work in common with Catalan Rural Pact, the Agenda Rural of Catalonia, just to achieve the leader methodology and the implication of the local action groups, or, for example, work with methodologies and strategies just like the European Charters for Sustainable Tourism. How do we work? How do we do it? Don't just based on this management system and all these challenge diagnoses, Priorat creates the Landscape and Sustainability Commission, that is a consultative and advisory body for a better coordination and control of policies in terms of territory, landscape, and sustainability in Priorat region. The Commission has 6 bodies in 3 main areas: execution, participation, and decision. And maybe we can to explain, because we don't have enough time, we have to explain what is the technical support, the landscape office, that is the body that works technically of the action of the management plan and inform to the permanent and General Assembly the progress of the action, where there are more than 20 agents in the territory, public and private, are involved, just like Priorat County Council, municipalities, the Catalan government with designated members, provincial deputy, protected natural areas, landscape observatory, small and medium enterprises organizations, and also the civil society and, of course, local action group.
May I ask?
Okay, I finished. Thank you.
You will have the occasion to bring your experience in the working groups as well.
It could seem complex, but this management system allows us to take our own decisions in a participated way, cooperating with other administrations in agreed ways, proposing the creation of work groups to respond to our problems. Here we have some some examples, just like the agricultural sector plan, just to planning and zoning on land use, the management system just to get UNESCO World Heritage recognition, the World Chart, land banks, and agricultural dynamization, etc., etc. Just for our landscape charter was the instrument, and at last, but not at least, we think that it's a replicable model beyond formal recognition that is very important to encourage and monitor voluntary commitments to act in favor of the local Rural Pact. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your very interesting experiences. We have heard that based on the survey that Urszula has presented before, there are some keywords around your initiatives in terms of vision, plan, in terms of governance, in terms of participatory approach. So we will come back on those elements later in the working group. So many thanks for your presentation and also your motivation. So now we are going to listen to the experience of Pays Vallée du Loir. So I don't know how you share your presentation. Who is starting? Sorry. Okay. So you have the floor, and yes, 10 minutes as well for both of you.
Hi everyone. We are glad to be there. So we are the PETR, Pays Vallée du Loir. So in French, PETR can be translated by Territorial and Rural Balance Pole. It's a structure working for many municipalities. So PETR is quite a status, and Pays Vallée du Loir is a name. So what's a pays? Pays can be translated by a country, like France, Spain, etc. So, but here it's another level. It's an administrative category for spatial planning, and it's a small region. It's a part of a territory recognizable by its landscapes, and we support territories projects. So, so it's an administrative category for spatial planning, but we have to deal with economical, ecological, cultural, and social interests. Otherwise, municipalities or group of municipalities can deal with them themselves. So Pays Vallée du Loir is recognizable by its landscapes, and what can stand all the communities, it's because we are an alluvial valley with limestone slopes crossed by the Loir River. So the Loir River is defining the territory. So this is the territory. So we are working for 57 municipalities, all in a rural area. And all these municipalities are grouped in 3 communities, from east to west. And we are situating, as you can see, so in France, between 3 metropolitan areas, so Le Mans, Angers, and Tours. And as you can see, the artificial lands covers approximately 5% of the territory. So it's a really big rural country, part of the country. So the purpose of our structure is, so we are mutualizing tour, of 3 communities of municipalities. So they can deal with a lot of things by themselves, but sometimes you have to find the layer to work together. So that's why we're here. So we are working on the territories project. So it's a territorial coherence scheme. So this is really a territories project. So this is what gives indications to the local urbanism plans in the communities. So we are supporting in the same time Nature 2000, which is a biodiversity program and animations of part of the territory. And we have an architectural and landscape chart. We also have a climate air energy service. We are working for energetic renovation for citizens. So we are holding programs. We are working on the forest chart because we have more than 40,000 acres of forest on the territory. And we have a service which animate the culture and heritage. So it's a label which animate for everybody, citizens and communities, the architectural heritage of the territory. And we are animating 2 festivals for public. So our structure is working on what the municipality decided us to work on, because they need to do it together. That's why we are working on it. And we have a local action group that Karine is going to present after me. Which is, the local action group is animated by the PETR. So the governance now. So we have 57 municipalities in our area. And so we have a general committee with 43 elected members. Why not 57? Because we have in our status 1 elected member for 1,750 inhabitants. So that's just a status. So we have a president, open sessions, so local media and citizens can assist to the open sessions, and they are making decisions. We are submitting decisions, and they're deciding if we go or not go. So all these proposals are first examined by the bureau, which is governed by members of the general committees, but there are just 12 of them in closed sessions. And so we once a year have a mayors conference for all the 57 mayors of the territory, or their elected members if they want. And we have a territorial development council, which is 30 citizens, inhabitants of the territory, which are representing economical, ecological, all the interests that we are supporting. And they are not elected members, not specifically elected members. They're just citizens wanted things for their territory and pushing them to the general committee. And they are really, really active. So we are a little structure, so we are only 8 of us in the PETRs, and we are working on finance and human resources of the PETRs, so contractual politics and local action group, territory attraction, mobility, because mobilities are a transversal. Before we were talking about the silos, so we really need to disconnect the silos and reconnect all the subjects together, climate and energy and culture and heritage. So there is 1 director, 7 agents and 4 poles of working, as you can see them, and the connections between all these poles. So I'm going to give the speech to Karin, and thanks for listening to me.
So for the funding of the PETR, we have contribution from the municipalities, and what was decided in 2024 was 5.75 euros per inhabitant. And also we have funding from LEADER and from FEDER, as for example for Natura 2000. And national level, we ask for fundings to work on our subjects from the ADEME, DRAC, and etc. And there are also regional levels. And we have a special fund called Mission Inventaire du Patrimoine. It's an heritage inventory, so the regional level pay for inventory in all our municipalities, like farms, any building in the municipalities. So it's quite interesting for the cultural heritage. And we have the county level also, we have fundings, special funding for, it's more for cultural level or for geographical geographical system, you know, le PIG. I don't know, that doesn't matter. And we have also some activities generating revenues, like visit for groups organized for schools, and some are activities related to natural and architectural heritage. And as we engineering some of the funds, we collect some money depending on the subject, but we had some money from the energy saving certificates paid by Total, and well, it's not that. So I've interviewed my colleagues. 1 minute. So. So how we work the entry points to work with publics. We have public institutions. We have some national obligations, so we have to work some subjects. We have financial programs that can help to implement projects like LEADER and DRAC, French programs. So we do engineering, counseling, empowering with different categories of people, companies, community agents, citizens. Or we can work for or work with them. And the projects, what we do with the projects, we bring knowledge, we provide expertise, we co-create, we train members sometimes to use tools, and we make information accessible to the greatest part. And the most effective ways to work is on the phone or in person as much as possible to go to the public. And the LAG, we have 16 members of the public bodies, 13 members of the private body. And for the decision for this program, it will be 50-50 for the decision to make. So the strategy was based on consultation of people working on the territory and people from the Consell, the Territorial Development Council. So the next projects are aiming to make culture accessible to everyone, improving the territory sustainability and reinforcing territorial coherence and bonding among inhabitants. And that's it.
Thank you very much. Thank you for presenting this Pays Vallée du Loir, quite interesting, another angle, but also this presentation of this multi-funding approach is also very interesting and inspiring for our work. So you will have the occasion to continue and to bring ideas that you had not the occasion to mention during your presentation. So many thanks to both of you. So now I'm going to give the floor to our last experience from this plenary session, to Mirta Sutter, who will present the Italian Inner Area Strategy supporting local action. So you have the floor.
I will be very short.
Yes, so, but
because I'm alone.
You can have your 10 minutes, but if you can do it in 7 minutes, it's even better.
Yes, I will try. I will try. Thank you for inviting me. I bring the greetings from the 7 legs of Tuscany, which we as a leg Montagnappennino represent. I'm working in leg Montagnappennino as a community manager and rural development animator, and today I will show you how the Italian inner area strategy is supporting the local action at our territorial level. How can we? Okay. The inner area strategy in Italy was developed since 10 years, from 2013. And the inner areas in Italy covers the 60% of national territory with 4,000 municipalities and 33% of total population of all Italy. And the 65% of mountain municipality, which was the aim of the inner area strategy. The ultimate goal of this strategy was the reinforcement of the demographic structure. And this is also the ultimate goal also of the LEADER program in Italy at the moment. It was a very innovative program, the inner area, because it was based at, with a national dimension and multi-level governance method. So it has a multi-fund attitude, as you can see, a lot of funds are included, and it uses participatory approach to local development, working very close with municipalities and legs. Of course, the inner area strategy is cooperating a lot with, as I told, to the legs in all Italy, especially in our area. Our leg is Montagnappennino, and it's 30 years experience in participatory and bottom-up strategies. I think you all know how leg works, and my leg, our territory, is the most northern part of Tuscany. It's 2 valleys, and our territory is mostly covered by forest and historical villages. But the inner area territory covers, in the north part of Tuscany, the territory of 2 legs, leg Montagnappennino, which is mine, and leg Lunigiana, which is the most northern part at the border with Emilia-Romagna and Liguria. It covers 36 municipalities, 4 union of municipalities, 3 provinces, 2 parks, 1 regional park and 1 national park, with more than 100,000 inhabitants. And it uses a multi-sector strategy, and it is a real integrated governance model in our area in which we are working. How it works? So the inner area strategy, as I told, is at national level, but is at local level, it is run by the Union of Municipalities, which are a group of municipalities divided from 4 territories, which are running the Area Interna, which is the Italian name, Garfagnana, Lunigiana, Media Valle del Serchio, and Appennino Pistoiese, at political... I know. This is the Italian name. They are 4 territories, like 4 very little region in Tuscany. At political and technical level, it has an office for management of the area run by 2 managers from one of the Union of Municipalities. But it has a strong support at technical external level from the leg Montagnappennino and also the other leg, but mostly Montagnappennino has the role of supporting it. In the next period, the 2 legs will also manage the Rural Development Fund measure for the inner area strategy. There are many synergies between the leader and the inner area in the management of the projects, and the calls for proposal, the animation, and the monitoring and financial claims. Because leader runs the local development strategy, mostly setting up local partnership projects, like community projects and integrated agri-food chain projects. The in-area strategy mostly runs a measure against depopulation and social exclusion at an infrastructural level. So we can say that the Leader Fund is supporting more projects and strategies from the communities, and the inner area strategy is supporting more the infrastructural measures, financing mostly public entities, local municipalities, schools, and other public entities. The leader, the leg also give technical advice and do training and animation in all the territory. Okay, I will show you very briefly some example of projects. The Area Interna is supporting projects about land conservation, mobility, like the railway lines, education and training, health and social welfare, and local development at a public level. Instead, the leader strategies in this moment we are running, we are supporting community projects, non-agricultural activities like commercial and tourism enterprises, non-agricultural also startups, artisanal startups, for example, innovation for the development of new technologies and process in agriculture, smart villages, and also tourism infrastructure for private enterprises. So the inner area, we can say that is supporting more the public sector, and the legs is cooperating with it, supporting from a bottom-up, with bottom-up strategies, more, let's say, the communities, the people, and the enterprises in our territory. Thank you.